Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB Strategy Show. Friday, going into the weekend, 14-game slate. And once again, DraftKings has found a way to misprice pitchers. They've gotten credit to DraftKings. They've gotten remarkably consistent at mispricing pitchers at every turn. I don't quite understand it. They price a lot of guys way too high and then a lot of guys way too low, but that's fine because we all got the same players to choose from, except the difference, we got the tools. We got top pitchers. We got top stacks. We've got the sims, the single lineup sims, all that good stuff. Going to put us in the right direction, guide us where they're going to be our compass today because this is not an easy slate. And what I mean by that is anytime you got 14 games, like there's a ton of stuff that can go sideways. But also, you know what? Maybe we take some stands, and I hope we do. Anyway, good morning to all of you guys. Michael, all of you fellas, R. Stanley, Steven, hope you had a good vacation. Andy, Jake, Harold, Justin Sports. Yeah, fellas, let's go. Should be fun. Now, out of the gate here, I would ask you kindly to atone for your sins this fine morning. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Both of them. Leave a comment down below. Try and read and respond to all. Very appreciative when you guys do so. And of course, if you hate this after deciding to subscribe, feel free to unsubscribe. We'll refund your misery for free. You'll never have to see or hear from me again until hopefully football. But my request, actually what I would love is that you guys hang around till football starts. And of course, no promises that the MLB Strategy Show solo show is going to be running once NFL starts, but you can't blame me. I'm not going to be doing MLB and NFL strategy shows when it starts. There's just too much. I'm doing like 50 NFL pieces a week, which I'm not complaining about. But we still have a long way until we get there, right? A long way, like 2+ months away. So we'll make do with this as we can, and we'll have some fun and look to win some money along the way. Yoli, to be contrarian, should we play a lineup with the highest negative sim ROI? No, definitely don't do that. Here's the thing, Yoli. Those sims are factoring in leverage and ownership, right? If you're playing a negatively simmed ROI, that may actually be the least contrarian lineup. Like the most negatively simmed ROI, or one of them, might be the chalkiest lineup you could possibly build because the sims are saying this is just way overowned. It's way too chalky. It's not going to sim well at all. So no, you never want to play negatively simmed lineups. The whole purpose is to factor in, that contrarian aspect of DFS and the leverage and ownership and projections, all of that into one. So, no, I could not stress enough. If you're going out there and just playing red, that'll go a long way in hurting you. But, yeah, Devin said, I saw at least 3 misprices on starting pitcher on the DraftKings slate. Yep. Anthony, damn, that Twins 8-run inning cost me first place. That sucks. 52-point lead. And that game may have never played. Long ass delay in that game, but let's dive into it. We have some fun stuff to talk about, and when I mentioned that we potentially have some pitching that is mispriced, maybe you guys disagree with me. It's entirely possible. I don't think you will. I think most people are sensible here, but when I pull this up and I'm looking at Will Warren. And I mentioned some of this in the perfect lineup video I do with Josh every day. Make sure to show up to that one today. That should be up in like an hour. It's a great I think you guys will love it. Whether you don't have a lot of time in the day, whether you just want to supplement your DFS content, or you have ADD and something like this is harder to pay attention to than a very digestible 7-8 minute video 5 days a week, whatever it may be. Or you'd love a shot to win a free week of The Sims by simply commenting in the comments, not on this video, on that one. People are commenting on this one last time I said it. That doesn't work. Commenting who you think will be the highest scoring stack of the day. Tough one today, 28 teams. But I mentioned, if you've got a guy like Will Warren who is the 9th highest priced pitcher on the slate, has the highest top 2 pitcher probability and a 4th highest top value percentage. I understand he's getting ownership, but what the hell are we supposed to do with this otherwise? Right? Like, if you're using props too to guide you in the right direction, if you look at Will Warren's props today, they're as good, if not better, than any other pitcher going, right? And you've got 10K pitchers, a slew of 9K pitchers, high 8K pitchers. Meanwhile, you've got a guy in Will Warren that has a 6.5K prop today with juice to the over. 72 degrees at Yankee Stadium. The winds don't affect it much, but still blowing in at 9 miles per hour. How do you not look at Will Warren and say there's no reason he should be $8,300? There isn't. Like, for sure in this spot should be over 9K. He also has a 29.5% strikeout rate this season. So look across these numbers. Circa and Pinney have him at 6.5 with -125, -127 respectively, juice to the over. And you know what else is interesting? All of these sports books are 100% in line on this too. There's no real outliers in one direction or the other. So yeah, tell me, what am I missing here? Because I don't think it's much. If you wanted to say he's popular and I'd like to get away from him there, sure. But I think that's really the only argument. And I don't really know if I want to get away from him even at that ownership. To me, it seems like there's just too much value there. I don't know. To me, it makes a lot of sense to grab somebody like Will Warren at 8,300 in this spot. Athletics have the lowest team total today on the slate. They're -1, or the Yankees are -252 favorites. What is there not to like other than the ownership? Sean, there must be a tipping point where so many people are using Sims, ownership gets muddled. We've accounted for a lot of that, man. Our guys behind the scenes are constantly fine-tuning the Sims. Shout out to them too. I mean, it's a day and night process. It never ends. Steven, one good thing about baseball is you can eat a chalky piece like Warren and have plenty of room to get weird elsewhere. Yeah, right. Exactly. He's popular, no doubt about it, but it's a 14-game slate. It's a 14-game slate. Einsteinium, the argument is Barrios against this dreadful Red Sox team is unowned. Yeah, $8,500 on Jose Barrios, getting 6% ownership. He is positively leveraged, although a lot of guys are positively leveraged on a big slate like today, not getting a lot of ownership. You could probably make an argument for Barrios being fine in this spot. I'm not in love with it. Honestly, I would probably go with the guy that is getting a little bit more ownership and take a look at a Jose Soriano. To me, he's the second best pitcher on the slate. From if you're taking everything into consideration, obviously, if you're just looking at raw talent, Logan Gilbert today against the Rangers in Texas is a good spot for sure. Jose Quintana really hasn't presented much upside, but he's 8K flat at home against the Colorado Rockies. Like, that's definitely going to be a spot that makes sense. There's a few of these guys that are just very viable. Quintana 8K, positively leveraged. Probably should be a little cheaper, but Colorado's so bad that it might not even matter. But again, Barrios has a 20% K rate, right? 20% K rate, you're paying $8,500 for him. So I guess the question there is, like, does the fact that he's getting 6% mean that he's better than a guy like Jose Soriano today? Now, obviously, we're not going to judge everything off of just a handful of starts recently. But have you guys seen what Jose Soriano has been doing recently? I mean, this guy has a 36% K rate over his last 3 starts. The knuckle curve is getting a tons of swing and misses. And here's the wildest part about a guy like Soriano, because obviously we don't expect him to sustain 36% strikeouts. The craziest thing for Jose Soriano, this dude has a 90th percentile fastball velocity. He's sitting 97. and a 99th percentile ground ball rate. He's getting almost 67% ground balls on the season, which is preposterous. And now he's starting to generate more swings and misses. The other thing is he's been getting a lot of called strikes on this knuckle curve as well. Like he's dropping it in wherever he wants it. And if that's the case, you're getting swings and misses on the pitch. You're getting called strikes on the pitch. It has a 15% swinging strike rate. The only thing right, exactly, Anthony. By fastball, I'm saying his sinker is 99. It's sitting 97 is where it actually is. But I will take 98, tomato, potato. But the only thing I don't like about this, you nailed it, boss bro, is that Washington probably runs out like 6 lefties. Soriano's been better against righties. He's also been better at home, too. He's got like a 27% K right there. He's been better against righties. There's no denying that. But, and good morning, Keith Vape, this is still a price play. If you're looking at a $7,400 Soriano, you have to be looking at this as a price play, right? I don't see how you couldn't. Does this mean you have to get all the Soriano tonight? No. But Washington has a bottom, the 6th lowest implied total of 28 teams going. And Soriano is the 17th most expensive pitcher. We have him as the 6th highest projected pitcher, and he's the 17th highest priced. So there is objectively, whether you want to argue against Soriano or not is perfectly fine. What you can't argue against, you simply can't argue against it, is that he's underpriced. That's a foregone conclusion. He's objectively cheaper than he should be in this particular spot. You can take any metric you want, right? You can take the fact, even if you weren't looking at our projections, Washington has one of the lowest totals, 4.3 total today. There's no reason Jose Soriano, who's actually a pretty decent pitcher, and he's a minus 168 money line favorite, should be 7,400. It's funny, he was 6,400 2 starts ago, which is pretty wild as well. But all in all, even if you were to overlook, ignore, by the way, DraftKings updated their player cards. They must have had enough negative feedback to where they promptly changed them. They're actually a lot better now. I'm a creature of habit. I don't like change, but these are markedly better than they were before. No doubt about it. But this guy's been dominant lately. 6,400 last start. And you know what else is crazy? These past, this trio of starts that he's had recently, it isn't like he's had just straight layup matchups. He had Houston, he had the Yankees, and the Athletics. He went 6 2/3, 1 earned, 10 Ks, 7 scoreless, 6 Ks, and 7 one-run innings, 2 hit innings with 12 Ks against the Athletics. So yes, the one thing there is that all 3 of these teams will run out a good amount of righties, and Washington doesn't. That's the one thing I don't like. But I do like the fact that he's 7,400. Einsteinium, hear me out, Laffy. Cade Horton against this Astros team. Why are you a masochist, Einsteinium? He's 6,800. I guess it's an okay spot, but I feel like you embrace self-pain, self-torture sometimes. Maybe you're right here. Maybe you're right over the target. Pitching isn't great today either. Like you have Warren, Gilbert looks good at 10K. He's expensive. He's getting ownership, but I'm a huge Logan Gilbert fan. I mean, this guy's great. Pepio against Baltimore is another one of those spots. They've inexplicably been terrible against lefties this year. So it would have been helpful if Pepio was a lefty, but I don't know. I guess you could say I'm a little bit surprised by this price point. Maybe it's the fact that he's just been so good recently. I can understand that. The other thing about Soriano, though, that I think sometimes gets, lost in all the noise is that because he has such an insane ground ball rate, and because he doesn't give up a lot of hard contact. He's allowed 3 home runs on the season, 93 innings. He's allowed 3 home runs. One of the things that gets lost here is that this guy has real longevity on the mound. Like, he can pitch deep into games. So I think those two guys make the most sense. I think Logan Gilbert's up there for sure. What do we do with Dylan Cease today is the question. Dylan Cease is the type of guy that there are times if you roster him, he's just going to dominate. He had back-to-back starts against the Dodgers, crushed them, and then had a pedestrian start the next time out. But it's 90 degrees at Great American Ballpark. It's not the best part for pitchers. I'm a little surprised that Cease is getting this ownership. I think, though, it's because DraftKings continuously prices him in a range where he's easy to get to, right? Because he's a near 30% strikeout guy. Anytime you're throwing somebody like that in at that, what was he, like 8,400 last time we rostered him 2 starts ago? I don't remember, but he was cheap. Now he's 9K against Cincinnati. Cease is always going to be decent there. Always. Plus Cincinnati, 8th highest K rate against righties this season on the active roster. They're a shockingly pedestrian team. They're pretty much just average across the board everywhere. So it's sensible that we're going to get to some of the Dylan Cease here, and I'm okay with that. But I think, and Einsteinium, I like the expensive bat. I like plenty of expensive bats today. But, I mean, look, it would be a relatively chalky pairing between Warren and Soriano. But I think they're still on a big slate. Like, there's so many ways to get different. But you think about it. If you're playing Soriano and Will Warren together, that's $15,700 to pitching. That's nothing. Nothing. A couple guys mentioning Brian Bayo. Yeah, he has been better. He's been better after. Remember we talked about how this guy couldn't get out of the 5th inning? Remember we were discussing that maybe like a month ago, where like this guy has not pitched out of the 6th inning in over a month, or out of the 5th inning. His last 4 starts, he's gone 6 1/3, 7 and 6. He's been better. He is discounted. The one thing I don't like about Brian Bayo, and you guys all know this, we've been doing this long enough now, the Toronto Blue Jays have a shockingly low strikeout rate against righties. Their active roster strikes out at 16.5% against righties. They are not a power-laden offense. They're bottom 5 in ISO, right? They have a 107 WRC plus against righties. That's smack in the middle of the pack. Everything else about them is very average. 19th in WOBA, 17th in WRC plus, but a 16.5% K rate. I just really hate those type of spots when you're dealing with a pitcher that is also not someone that can blow guys away. I added away at the end of that before you make any statements. Brian Bayo has a strikeout rate of 18% this year. So, I mean, what are the realistic expectations here for him to generate any real strikeout stuff? You'd need him to get deep into this game. I mean, his strikeout prop, I'd be surprised if it was above. I would be surprised if it was above 3.5. Let's see. Yeah, 3.5 strikeout prop. Barely any juice to the over there. To me, that's just, it doesn't really feel like a great spot to get to. I would rather look elsewhere where we can try and generate some strikeouts at a cheaper price point. Like Soriano has a 5.5K prop, 17.5 outs prop. Warren has a 6.5K prop with juice to the over. You look at some of these others. Eovaldi, 4.5. Landon Root. I was surprised he wasn't getting at least a little bit of ownership against the White Sox today. I thought he would get something, but he's not. He's like 3% ownership here against the White Sox. Merrill Kelly at 5.5. Another spot where if he wasn't $9,600, I think we'd be getting more of him. Brandon Walter, 8,700 against Chicago. I don't really have a ton of interest in getting there. I don't think you guys do either. And a 4.5K prop with juice to the under. Sawyer Gibson Long, I'm good. Yuri Perez. Someone had just asked about Yuri Perez against Arizona. Again, there's always going to be an argument to be made for some of these dirt cheap guys, but it's harder to make that argument on a slate where you have other cheap pitchers that are viable. Like here, I'll give you a crazy one that many of you guys are probably going to disagree with, but that's okay. That's what's good about this. I think a $7,100 Bryce Elder is actually semi-viable, given that the Phillies are currently in a lifeless form. Do you know, I don't know if I tweeted this yesterday, but the Phillies, remarkably, look at this. I'll show you. Nobody ever likes or engages with my Phillies tweets, which is understandable. You know, it's not like I'm a Philly account. But if you look, the Phillies, where is it? In that Houston series, Suarez went 7 2/3, 1 earned, 7 Ks. Wheeler went 6 1 earned innings with 8 Ks. Sanchez went 6 innings, 1 earned, and 11 Ks. And they lost 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. I mean, holy shit. Sometimes I'm willing to, and we were doing this with the Mets last week. Sometimes I'm absolutely willing to try and ride against the cool hand with pitchers. Bryce Elder, $7,100. Eric, I like the Phillies. Yes, they may have scored 3 runs in 3 games or whatever, but before that they scored see, that's the thing about baseball, Eric. You could play the other side of this one as well. Here's the approach I would take. I think the Phillies are viable today as a stack without question. Could be some weather in this game, so pay attention. I think the Phillies are viable, and I also think Bryce Elder is viable. You know, if you're playing a bunch of lineups, say you're maxing the 50 cent, the mini max, the $15, whatever it may be, why not try and get exposure to 2 spots that could be really good? Like the Phillies could continue to struggle here, which wouldn't be surprising. They are genuinely one of the streakiest teams in baseball. They rely heavily on the long ball, and when that's not working, they're lifeless, right? So you could play on that happening, and Bryce Elder goes out there and has a strong game because prior to his last couple of starts, he had actually looked really good and his strikeout stuff was working great. Or you could fade Elder because he hasn't been great recently and go with a Phillies 5 or 4 man, and then that ends up looking good as well. So there's multiple ways to play it. We'll see in the Sims. I looked earlier. I don't think we got any Bryce Elder. Did we get any Phillies? Yeah, we got some Phillies. Between 3, 4, and 5 stacks, we've got about 10% Phillies. More than that, about 11%. So that's not bad. But if you look at our pitcher exposure for today, wow, look at that. I didn't see the Warren exposure. I knew we were going to get some. That is a boatload of Warren and Soriano. I'm not even remotely shocked. They're egregiously underpriced. Egregiously underpriced. Eric, Elder had a good game versus the Rockies. I thought he was no, he didn't. Did he? If you consider -3 fantasy points against the Rockies good, all right, well, I guess we simply have different definitions of good. Now, he had 38 against San Francisco the game before that, 8 scoreless with 12 Ks. Earlier against Pittsburgh, 5 3-run with 8 Ks. He's had a handful of good starts. Against the Dodgers, he went 5 2-run with 6 Ks in that game. I'm not saying he's an elite play today. I'm saying it's 7,100. If Philly remains as bad as they've been, go for it. But no, he was not good against the Rockies. He was pretty bad. Which, Eric, in your defense, while you were incorrect about the game log reading, that would back up your approach of, hey, this guy stinks. Let me get some more of the Phillies. Jake, can you cap Warren at 25% and see what it does to pitching and stack exposure? Absolutely. But what I want to do first is go through our exposures, and then we'll look at capping him and see what happens. So Warren and Soriano, they're mispriced. They're just priced wrong. I actually want to see what their prices are on FanDuel. Eric, Will Warren's overrated. Yeah, maybe, but if he's overrated, that means that you are, if you're saying he's overrated, then you're saying that you're smarter than the books, and you're smarter than everybody that's betting Yankees money line, a liquid market betting these game lines. He has a 29% strikeout rate. Athletics have the lowest total of any team on the slate, and the Yankees are minus 252 money line favorites. Warren he might have actually the highest K prop along with Logan Gilbert. So we can overrate it, but let's not act like we're just pulling this shit out of our ass, right? Like, everything is backed by data here. That doesn't mean that it's going to work obviously, right? Like, it doesn't mean it's always going to pay off, but this is all backed by data, so that actually matters. FanDuel, Will Warren's 88, also underpriced, 88, far and away the highest owned pitcher on the slate. Logan Gilbert's 10.5, Dylan Cease is 10.3. So that means that at 8,800, he's the 10th most expensive pitcher. Where's Soriano? Yeah, see, far more reasonable, I'd say a little overpriced, but more reasonable pricing on Soriano on FanDuel. He's 93. DraftKings has him at 74. Make that make sense. It's preposterous. So yeah, I mean, if you don't like him, don't play him. That's the simplest way to do it. But I think on paper, Warren and Soriano look like the two best options, along with Cease and Gilbert. Look, Cease is probably underpriced given that he's got a near 30% K rate as well. We know the ceiling is remarkable there. The guy just implodes from time to time. Jenna, you can stack the A's, great leverage against Warren. You could. I mean, if Warren ends up getting himself into trouble, then sure. But you could also say that about a lot of spots. If you're trying to get leverage off Warren, I guess, I mean, we're projecting around 40% ownership. So, yeah, it's not like you're talking about massive ownership that we get on these like 3 and 4 game Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday early slates. So I think it is definitely a little bit different in that respect. But, he's also, let's be fair to Will Warren here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's allowed 6 home runs on the season. Will Warren has allowed 6 home runs this year. He's done a phenomenal job of keeping the ball in the yard. Say what you want about him, but I mean, 0.72 home runs per 9 across 75 and a third innings. That's good. Very good. Oh, I'm sorry. He's allowed 6 home runs, 4 at home, 2 on the road, but 4 across 38 innings. That's still good at home, but much better on the road, but still less than a home run per 9 at home. The A's do have some power, though. We'll give them that. Nick Martinez, revenge game. That's all you, brother. Barrios, Rance mentioned him. Yeah, Einsteinian mentioned that earlier. Look, Jenna, I'm not even saying don't play the A's, but I don't think the tools are going to get us to a lot of them today because you've got so many good teams in, pretty favorable spots. We can see, though. Are we getting any Athletics? We are not. Nope. No Athletics. But you probably could pull a couple pitchers from here that nobody's looking at, that nobody's rostering, and just be like, hey, they're good enough. I'll get to some of them. And I think that's what you're seeing here. Like, look at our pitching exposure. It's obviously dominated by these four guys. And then you're just going to get tiny amounts of guys like Pepio, Merrill Kelly, Festa. I hate playing that guy. Even if he gets strikeouts, he can never get through 4 innings. Quintana, I think, is fine. Jake, to your question, the way I'm seeing exposures, if I capped Will Warren at 25%, my guess is that you're going to just get more Soriano, Cease, and Gilbert. Let's try it. And of course, you guys ever want to try these tools out for yourself, you know what to do. 2 very simple ways to do it. And very, very, very cost-effective ways. 1, use the link in the description where it says sign up with any of our sportsbook partners. Just expand that description where it says more. All you literally all you have to do is follow 4 steps. It'll take you a couple minutes. If you sign up with any of these sportsbooks or pick'em sites, if you're in non-legal betting states, you literally click claim offer. You have to do that or we can't track it. Click claim offer, make a minimum deposit of $5 or $10 because that's what the minimum is across all of these books and pick'em sites. Make a bet or make a lineup on the pick'em sites. The moment that settles, and you may have won that bet, and you're getting bonus bets, you're getting match deposit bonuses, so you're already in the black. All of these books incentivize you to sign up by offering you something when you do. After that bet or lineup settles, just take a screenshot of your welcome email and your first settled bet and email support@stokastic.com. Ron is amazing on the customer service side. I don't know if he's still in here. He'll get you squared away quick. Just make sure you do it the right way. Don't give him a hard time. Make sure you do it the right way. Use the claim offer link right here. Send your screenshots of your welcome email and your first settled bet and email support@stokastic.com and just tell us what you want. Hey, I want a month of The Sims for MLB. Hey, I signed up for 3 different books. Can I get 3 months of MLB? Or can I get MMA, PGA, and can I get NASCAR? And you got it. That's all you got to do. Or, of course, shoot me a DM at Lofty_D, LOUGHY_D, right below my head right there on Twitter or Instagram. Say, hey, I watched the show. Can I get that great discount code for a week or month of The Sims? And I'll say, you're damn right you can, fella. You got it. One more thing. I don't know if you guys are MMA fans. I know some of you are baseball-specific baseball purists here. But because we've got one of the biggest UFC cards of the year coming up tomorrow, Greg and myself and Josh, we're all running a little MMA sale. For any of you who want to dive in on this and use the MMA Sims, use all of the tools, 50% off Core or Max. Now that is any Core or Max package. Core Weekly, Core Monthly, Max Weekly, Max Monthly, MMA, all of the tools, Sims, you name it, 50% off with promo code KO. KO, you cannot mess that up. So if you're looking forward to these fights tomorrow, or you just want to test the waters with MMA, which could be a highly profitable sport, particularly with these tools, use KO, get 50% off Core or Max, literally any Core or Max package you want with KO and for monthly or weekly, and you are in business for the MMA Sims and a massive card coming up tomorrow. All right, let's talk about our stack exposures here. Let's talk about stacks. So are we thinned out or are we right where we should be? Who are we getting the most of? LA against at home against this Washington team, against Jake Irvin, some Tampa Bay. I mean, I definitely don't hate this spot for Tampa at all, as a matter of fact, against Sugano. But this guy always seems to make life miserable. Like he's not good, but he also doesn't get wrecked. Boston against Barrios. Then you've got San Francisco. So they're away from Oracle Park. That's helpful. You've got Aaron Savali on the mound. But it appears that we're just really spread out. Let me go into our exposure caps and see what we look like here. Stack exposures today. LA, a lot of LA, and then it's really spread out. Tampa at 11, Boston at 11, San Diego at 9, Milwaukee 8, San Francisco 6, St. Louis 6, Dodgers 5, Atlanta 5. All right, so right now at 11:38 Eastern time, if you were to be playing 150 lineups, you would unquestionably be getting a ton of different stacks. A lot. And I'm okay with that because when you look at the top stacks tool, there's nobody that really stands out. Look at the team totals too. Check this out. There are 9 teams with a 5+ implied total. It's amazing, right? And then 18 at 4.5 or higher. So essentially you have 18 teams within one run of each other. And then there's no teams getting a boatload of ownership. I'm telling you right now, that is why we're going to end up getting to a lot of, somewhat chalky pitchers, because how much does the leverage really matter when none of these stacks are pulling significant ownership? None of them. 7.6% stack ownership to San Diego against Nick Martinez is the most owned. To me, that's pretty wild. Eric Johnson said, Angels, really? I don't think that's all that crazy at all, honestly. I'm not even remotely surprised by that, as a matter of fact. What don't you like about it? First of all, they have a 5-run total. They're in a homer-friendly park. The great thing about Soriano on the other side is he has 67% ground balls, doesn't really give up homers. But a guy like Jake Irvin's allowing 1.5 home runs per 9 this year. He has a 13% barrel rate. I mean, quite frankly, I would say that this is the type of spot that actually looks pretty good for the Angels. 13% barrel rate, 1.5 home runs per 9. I don't know. Look at Angel Stadium for home runs over the rolling 3-year average. Top 4 with Citizens Bank Park. For righties, Angel Stadium and home runs is, how do I always not see? 5th. And for lefties, because they changed these dimensions not too long ago. For lefties, it is 7th. It's a damn good home run park. Jake Irvin struggled with home runs. I don't hate this. Now, if the argument is, well, yeah, but the Angels aren't a great baseball team, you'd have something there. They strike out a decent amount. 96 WRC plus against righties isn't great. Here's the difference. They have a 171 ISO. So this is one of those teams that if the pitcher could have a solid game because they strike out a lot. And if they're just hacking at everything, it's going to be pretty beneficial. But they also are top 10 ISO team against righties. And Jake Irvin coughs up a lot of power. Chris, you're on the Nats against Soriano? Yikes, no thanks. I didn't say that. Matter of fact, I said the complete opposite throughout the duration of this show. What I said about Soriano is that the fact that he has an elite and extreme ground ball rate and doesn't give up power gives us reason to play him. So, yeah. Oh, someone else said they're on the Nats. Okay. Yeah, no, not me. I like it the other way around. I like the Angels bats, and I like Soriano here. But I don't think I'm saying anything crazy. Are there any stacks that we're getting to a lot of that aren't really I should say it doesn't matter. None of these stacks are owned. We're just getting a lot of leverage on the Angels, but we're getting positive leverage on the Rays as well against Sugano. We're getting leverage on Boston against Barrios. We're getting leverage on St. Louis. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who you're playing here. Yeah, I got you, Chris. My fault. I didn't see that. Anthony, yeah, right. Like the Angels do hit a lot of homers, and that's kind of what benefits them against a guy that gives up a lot of homers. They also strike out a lot. They're a real feast or famine type of guy or type of team. Take a look at individual exposures here, and then we'll take a look at some of our home run props. We also just released a brand new portfolio lab over in Portfolio EV. It's awesome. You guys should check it out. First week's always free. If you want to start betting with assuredly knowing that you are getting positive EV bets that historically have been profitable, it's a cool way to bet, man. If you want to check it out, your first week's free. Links in the description. Just look at the Portfolio EV. Sign up. First week free. You don't pay a cent. All right, so Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Jarren Duran, Jackson Merrill. Those are 4 guys, 20+%. We've got Bobby Witt, David Hamilton, Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. And guys, obviously I'm running through this. I try and give you as much quality free content as I can every single day. But just know, you can essentially use these yourself and you can get them almost free with the link down there. I say this because people always inquire about it. I can't pay for it right now. I mean, if you have $5 laying around, $10, you can. So what I mean is I always try and give you as much as I can, but I only have so much time in the day. We got live before lock tonight though, so tune in for that. All right, so how about third base here? You've got Rafael Devers, who we're getting a lot of for San Francisco against the White Sox. Interesting spot because you're paying $5K for him. You get him outside of Oracle Park, which is super favorable. You're just not going to get to a lot of this guy when you're in San Francisco. But going up against Aaron Savali, who's also been someone that, historically has given up power. And then Rengifo is always a guy that we get a ton of. I don't know what it is. It's probably the fact that he's dirt cheap. We always get a lot of this guy, especially when he's at Angel Stadium. And he is today, and we're getting a lot of him today against Jake Irvin. Christian Moore, David Hamilton, Brendan Donovan at second base. Are there, what I'm noticing here is I don't really know if there are any guys we are getting like 30+% of at all. Are there? 25% Logan O'Hoppe, 26% Judge. No, we don't have a single hitter that we're getting. There it is. Christian Moore, 27% is our highest exposed bat. And then if we look at our lineups here, which is always helpful, Warren Soriano, Gilbert Warren, Cease Warren, Warren Soriano, Gilbert Warren, Warren Soriano, Warren Soriano, Warren Soriano, Gilbert Pepia. There you go. There's an unfamiliar face. Warren Soriano, Warren Soriano, Warren Soriano. I'll do this for you, Jake, because I think it's a good idea. We'll set the exposure cap at 25% before we get out of here for Warren and see what happens. My guess is that Soriano comes up even higher, Cease and Gilbert come up higher, and none of these other kind of tertiary options really come up at all, if not, marginally. Let's see. Yep. That's what I thought. Cease goes to 47. Soriano comes up a bit, but not a ton, 46. Gilbert, 41. Warren, 25. Pepio to 11. Merrill Kelly to 6. Festa at 4. So not really much changes at all. I mean, it does. I shouldn't say that. You're still going to get more of these guys. Gilbert and Cease, to be exact, are the ones that you're getting a lot more of. But you're not going to see wholesale changes across the rest of pitching, because right now in the Sims, and you could tell this if you've used the Sims enough, and I know many of you guys have, or have at least watched this show, that when you're getting such heavy exposure, right, to like 4 individual pitchers, capping one of them isn't going to be enough to move the lesser pitchers up a lot. It's just going to move those other 3 guys up a ton. Eric, so no Freeland and Savali pairings? Unfortunately not. Yeah, anytime, Jake. It was a good question. I like doing that stuff to see if we're getting any real differences. Chris, Rengifo was nice last year. He's been bad this year, but he's cheap. I mean, yeah, he's so cheap, man. They have a 5-run total. A 5-run total. He's dirt cheap. You know, he bats towards the bottom of the order. But another reason the Angels, I'm going to show you something. I haven't looked at this yet, but I have it on pretty good notice that the Angels' top value score is going to be high. Yeah, it's the 3rd highest behind the White Sox in Minnesota. So when you've got a team, you know, that has a 5-run total, slight positive leverage, a stack score that's sitting, top 5, top 4, and a top value percentage, you're just going to get to a decent amount of them. They're not an expensive team to stack at all, and Jake Irvin gives up power. That's all. 14 games is crazy, huh? The highest priced pitcher, or hitter, sorry. I mean, we assume that Zach Nato is going to be out, right? I don't know. Maybe he'll be back. If he's back, he's 5,100. But if not, Mike Trout, it's 4,500. That's crazy that Mike Trout's salary has fallen to 4,500. He would be the most expensive bat on this entire slate. Why? How he's gotten so cheap. He opened the season at 5,500, then 5,900. He's 4,500. Dirt cheap. Wow. Anyway, yeah. Well, Eric, wasn't Gilbert on the IL for a while? Wasn't Gilbert out a while? Like 2 months, month and a half? Pretty sure he was, unless I'm thinking of the wrong pitcher for Seattle. All right, so I think we did a pretty good job of breaking everything down today. Hey, if you think so, and if some way this is helpful for you guys along the way, at the very least, hitting that thumbs up, subscribing to the channel goes a really long way, and I appreciate you guys for that. Genuinely, goes a long way. Leaving a comment down below. I like reading them at the very least. So yeah, thank you guys for that. Don't go yet though. We got home run props and these tools have killed for home runs. Thanks, Jenna. I like how you support the channel. Appreciate you guys. You too, Devin. O'Neal Cruz at plus 650 on DraftKings. I would recommend that you guys bet this and quickly before it moves. David Peterson is a good enough pitcher, but you're getting quality odds here. True odds at plus 579, 10% edge. Circa's got it at plus 510. Win or lose, this is a good bet from a market-based perspective. If you know that you're betting something that has a higher probability of winning than the odds that are given to you by the sportsbook, I say this all the time. I will ingrain this into your guys' heads. Then you should bet it. Just like this spot here, Nolan Arenado, 7-1 on MGM or ESPN Bet. Even Christian Walker at 5-1 here. These are positive EV bets, and you should take them if given the opportunity. Anyway, hey, you guys are great. Love you all, and we will see you back here after the weekend. Enjoy the weekend, guys. 4th of July coming up next week. Maybe we'll have a little Sims Max sale for 4th of July. Had a lot of you guys asking me about it. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll do that. But for now, you want to get in on that fantastic MMA card from top to bottom tomorrow. Use code KO. 50% off core or max, week or month. Any of those packages, 50% off. Dude, 50% off a month of max. We never do that for any sport. So check that out. Come hang out. Join the Discord. Become part of the community. Let's win some money together. And I will see you guys back here on Monday. Bye-bye.